All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with my roommate, my best friend, my stepbrother, all the things. Like, we shared bunk beds last night at the house. It's Max Barr, the one and only, live and in living color in Nashville. You can see the very nice background he has there. You see that? I did that, Max. I put that on the wall for you.
It's almost like someone got up and moved me across the country.
Oh, my.
We're not ready for that already. We're not ready.
Listen. Robert, the best matchup of the day already. The Southeastern 16 crew versus technical difficulties. Always an exciting matchup. This week, like we're the 16. The technical issues are going to be the 1 seed this week.
Yeah, as you can tell, I don't have my headphones. Those have escaped me.
So Max spent a good 15 minutes this morning outside everywhere trying to find his headphones. Yeah, we're not sure what happened there. And then my headphones wouldn't work. I think Barry the Wonder Dog ate them. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are this morning. Both of us have had technical difficulties, but we're here to make our predictions. And if you are a member of the It Just Means More tier, you would have gotten our full bracket predictions that Max and I did on Monday. We released yesterday. We made our picks all the way through. Now, remember, we all said that we have the right to change our picks as we go along. But this was just sort of the initial, I guess it kind of was the gut SEC tournament bracket picks all the way from the start to finish. So, but now let's see if we change our mind. But if you guys are members, go check that video out. You can see our thoughts on the tournament. We made our picks all the way to the end, crowned a champion. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. Nick says, shouldn't we be headed to there? Guys, the tournament doesn't start for another 3.5 hours. What do you want us to do? Sam, interesting that they aren't there in person yet. The building's not even open. We can't even get inside. So, they want us camping out?
We can find a way in.
You guys want us to stream live from Bridgestone Arena tomorrow at 5 a.m.? We'll do that for you guys.
Shaking.
Should be camping out, Big Gator EJ says. No, we don't. We'll get there when they start serving breakfast, okay? That's when Max and I know to arrive at the arena.
Yeah.
It's not time yet. So we got several hours. All right, Max. Let's get to it.
Yes.
You want to pull up the bracket? Or should we just make it? I think we should pull up the bracket, right?
Man, that's the first time I heard the word bracket this morning, and it just shot a little jolt into me. A little 20 mgs of caffeine just shot into me right there. Just first bracket of the day. Woo! I like that. Let's do it.
Let's see if the technical difficulties continue. Let's see if we can find the actual bracket that works here.
Pull up that bracket.
All right. Let's see if this is it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there it is.
I'll drop the ticker.
What a thing of beauty. All right. The bracket is here. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our picks for the first round games. We'll talk about these matchups. And, we're going to have a lot of fun with it there. Billy checking in. Billy will be there. We know that. We'll see Billy here in a little while. Unless Billy's already there, unless he's camping out. You guys wanted us to do. Billy may be camping out outside right now. We don't know.
Billy's already there.
Yeah. I think Billy actually is the one that has the keys to the building. So we'll have to ask him if he can let us in. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run through all the first round matchups, give you our thoughts and predictions for these opening round games. We start at the top. Game number 1, noon Central, 3.5 hours from now. Arkansas, South Carolina. Last time around, we know what happened. South Carolina had a 35-point lead on the Hogs. And they wound up losing by 19, which, as we said, was probably not the worst thing because it didn't wind up being a 30-point loss or anything in the net and all that. This time around, though, Max, this game not in Columbia. It's in Nashville, Bridgestone Arena. And we know the Hogs have been playing very well. What is the key to the matchup for both these teams.
Well, the key for Arkansas is acting like you didn't play that game 2 weeks ago.
Recognizing that CMB's on the court, that too. Yeah.
Throw that thing in the trash, whatever you want to call the tape from that game, and regroup. Just to set the stage, injury report is what everyone has expected. There's nothing new. D-Rose out, and then everyone good to go except Stute for South Carolina. In the first game, that was the same situation. So nothing's changed there. I picked Arkansas in this one. The spread opened, I believe, yesterday morning at about -2.5 for the Hogs. Right now, that's up at 4.5. I absolutely hate that for my Arkansas pick. I just feel like way too many people are just completely writing off this South Carolina squad, not playing at home. And they're like, yep, Arkansas, Calipari, easy win. This is a one possession projection here. And South Carolina can do a lot of stuff in the front court that Arkansas is going to have. I mean, Adu has been playing better, but without Thero, you're just a little bit thinner. And this is a South Carolina team that's their bread and butter. I'm a little bit nervous now after the spread's ballooned out to 4.5, Blake.
Well, it's an interesting comment here. Like, it says, call me crazy, but I think South Carolina could go on a little run. They've been in close games with the top teams, and it's true. And I think that's where, to me, it's like it has been a difference when they're not in their own building, though. And I feel like that is something that we have to factor in this game. Whereas with Arkansas, I mean, yeah, like you said, I think looking at that number specifically, boy, it's just something where, because we've seen them do this, like we've seen them have a performance like that when it felt like everything was on the line for Arkansas, to come out and just play so poorly against this team that they're playing again now, even though since then they've won at Vanderbilt, they beat Mississippi State. Like, it does. It's like, can we see that again from them where they just come out? I mean, and we talked about the debate. Like, you know, Cal's made his thoughts on the SEC tournament very clear. And so it's like, just, you know, this feels different, though, because you're almost like, hey, you don't want to lose and put yourself in a position where you could miss the NCAA tournament. I've said I don't think they're missing it even if they lose. Now, if they lose by 15 or 30, that's a little different. But I think at worst they would head to Dayton. But, yeah, I just, you know, how do they stop Colin Murray-Boyles? I mean, last time around he just dominated the game. And like you said, Adu's been playing better and all that. But, I mean, this is a guy that he's just been so good. I mean, look at the performances this guy's had down the stretch, right? I mean, all season, but like, just look at what he's done some of these last several games. Obviously didn't play well at Tennessee, but I mean, that's a different defensive team a bit there. 24 points, 35, 27, 22, and just keep going. Like, he's been tremendous. So I think you want to see that extra something from Arkansas off the bat. Are they into it? It's an early tip. It's a noon tip. You know, South Carolina has nothing to lose. Arkansas may have something to lose here. So, curious.
Yeah, Chuck, one of our members says, when is Adu Thero coming back? Chuck, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could. Yeah. I do not know. If you do know and you're out there and you don't want to trick us and tell us he's coming back next game like we've been tricked before, please let us know, because we
John Calipari, if you have a burner in the chat right now, please let us know when he's coming back.
We got duped before already on Thero, hoping he's coming back. But yeah, I mean, if you're an Arkansas fan, you're probably saying, all right, triple team, quadruple team, 5-team Colin Murray-Boyles, make someone else beat us. Please, for the love of God, please make someone other than Colin Murray-Boyles. Well, hey, that's what every opponent for South Carolina the entire SEC season has said, and Murray-Boyles still finds a way to find his way to a double-double number or something near that. I do like how we haven't been talking about Brazil a lot, Blake, lately, and Brazil his efficiency has been pretty, compared to the beginning of the season, much higher the last few games. So I think is there anything for you to the level of, they won that game by 1 point against, I'm talking about Arkansas, won the finale at home against Mississippi State by 1 point. Is there anything that gave them just a little bit of that confidence boost they needed, rattle off the 2 in a row to go get back at South Carolina? Is there anything to winning 2 in a row, or does that not matter to you at all?
I would say yes if I didn't just see them win 2 in a row and then go get down by 35 at South Carolina.
My narrative has been destroyed.
But you know what I mean? But no, it's different now because they bounced back from it. It would be something else if they lost the South Carolina game, then come out the next game, lost, played poorly. But no, your point is different than mine in that I saw them win 2 in a row against Missouri and Texas. And then I saw them turn around and just completely just not even show up in the South Carolina game. And so I think, though, because they were able to bounce back, and we always said, when Cal finds himself with the back against the wall in those kind of scenarios, he's been okay with that at times. So I think Arkansas, it's not going to be what it was last game. It's just not going to happen. I'd be stunned, right, if that's the case. So I think they will play well here. That's just my thought. And we'll make our picks on that note.
Yesterday on the drive over, to the side. Yes. Hit some traffic, and the rush came over me. You know what, Maxie, you haven't really placed a wager in a while, and you're special occasion. Why don't we dip the toes and just have a little excitement, just a little entertainment? It's a big day, opening day here. And that opening wager was Hogs -2.5. If I need any indication on where I'm going with this game, we're starting out the early tip. We're going Hogs. But I'm very nervous with that thing ballooning out there at 4.5.
All right. So, again, I'm going to read to you the results for South Carolina in games away from Columbia over the past little bit. All right. I'll go back to, I could use the entire season, but I will just go to SEC play. All right. 35-point loss, Mississippi State on the road at Vanderbilt, 3-point loss at Oklahoma, 20-point loss. At Georgia, 11-point loss. At Kentucky, 23-point loss. At Florida, 21-point loss. At LSU, 14-point loss. At Missouri, 30-point loss. And then at Tennessee, a 10-point loss. So you can say, well, hey, trending in the right direction, right? They only lost by 10 at Tennessee. They played well there. But I think my point is that the overall picture here is that it's really hard to trust South Carolina on the road, or away from home is the better way to put it. This isn't a true road game. But there will be a lot of Arkansas fans, no doubt. But I just think that's, for me, the hard part, is we've just not seen them put together those kind of performances, specifically away from home. And maybe because it's not a true road game, that will matter here. But it's hard for me not to pick Arkansas. So I'm going to pick the Hogs to get the revenge.
All right.
So, all right, we're chalk. One game.
Yep.
In. This next one, someone asked a minute ago, maybe Nick. Nick said, which game is best today? Vote is on Oklahoma, Georgia. You can pretty much always bet that last game at night is always going to be pretty wild. But I think this is the game of the day. Vanderbilt to 12 against Texas to 13. That game, again, will take place 25 minutes after game one, so probably about 5 Central. It will be right after that. We said it, Vanderbilt won the first meeting here. I think the Commodores are in. As we noted yesterday, I know there were some Vanderbilt fans who were sort of freaking out when they saw Lenardi put him as an 11. Keep in mind that was just a seeding thing. That was not meaning they were in danger of falling out. That was just having to bump an SEC team down a seed line due to the rules in place for keeping SEC teams apart in the first or in the second round and first round. So just note that. I don't think anything Vanderbilt does here puts their tournament seeding in jeopardy. Meanwhile, Texas, I think it absolutely puts their tournament in jeopardy when it comes to what happens here, because they have to win, and they probably maybe have to win the next game too against Texas A&M. First time around, Vandy won 86-78 here in Nashville. Commodores really, it was kind of one of those games where, you got the key contributions from a lot of different guys, and that's what we talked about with this Vanderbilt team. It was a Tyler Nickel game. Like you may have called that one. I don't remember. I feel like we called a couple of those Tyler Nickel games against A&M and all that. But yeah, it's a great matchup, and also the Trey Johnson revenge game, and not because he used to go to Vanderbilt, but because I think he may have something to prove after the 0 for 14 in the last time.
Also, I don't want people to look at the first matchup and take too many conclusions from it, because that was a game that Tremont Mark missed. And
he was out.
Texas has not been good without Tremont Mark. Past 2 games for Mark, 24 points, 12 points. He's 5 of 10 from 3 in the past 2 games. So similar to how Tyron Lawrence coming back from Georgia has just done wonders for them late game and crunch time, having that other guy. Same thing for Texas, having Mark to be that secondary guy off of Johnson, with Jordan Pope's scoring kind of not being what it was in the non-conference. Tremont Mark is more important to Texas than people have been realizing. And so that game being at Vanderbilt and no Tremont Mark, I think Texas to only lose that game by 8, not a horrible result. And Texas even had, Texas even had a 10-point lead there into the second half. So like you said, I think this, for me, I can't wait for that Oklahoma-Georgia game just because of the implications, but this might be most, entertaining one that I don't know which way it's going to go. I really, really, really like Vanderbilt's guards defensively, and I like how they can put Tanner and Magnon on Trey Johnson and give those tough 2 Texas guards. Yeah, they're going to be taking tough 2s all day. I just think it's a great matchup also in the front court, because Texas's front court really isn't a physically imposing one that's going to take advantage of the lack of height for Vandy. I think this is game of the day for me, Blake.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is one where, when people ask about Texas, other than saying Trey Johnson, they ask, like, what's the one big advantage that Texas has as a team over, if you're pointing to something in any matchup and you're like, all right, that's the area where Texas can just exploit something. You know what my answer usually is? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what that one thing is, right? What's that one identifiable thing that I think they do better? Not maybe even do better than anybody else, but like, what's the thing that's going to set them apart? Again, other than just saying Trey Johnson. But with Vanderbilt, like, what do you think? What would be your answer?
In isolation?
Yeah. Okay. With Vanderbilt, though, I think like they have a pretty clearly defined sort of the way they execute their offense. And we always say these are 2 teams that have done a good job of taking care of the ball this year, but we know Vanderbilt, too, does a great job of forcing turnovers and turning that into easy offense. And I think, that's where, to me, when you look at this, sure, Texas is going to have the height advantage just like a lot of SEC teams, or maybe every other SEC team has had against Vanderbilt this season. That hasn't stopped them from winning, a lot of games against good teams. And so I tend to look at this as one where I do feel like Vanderbilt has a couple of those areas where you're just like, all right, that's what defines Vanderbilt. Like, this is what they do well. Like, they do a great job. Like I said, I think just their execution, their discipline, they're a really good team at those things. And I think when you find yourself in these sort of what you would expect to be a close game scenario in a neutral court environment, I know some people say, well, Vanderbilt will have the home court advantage. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot of Vanderbilt fans there. There's no question about it. I think there are some things for them that can stand out here. Again, maybe it's another Tyler Nickel game, right? Maybe it's a Chris Magnon game. Maybe it's all these guys that we mentioned. I like the overall balance for them more, because when we see, you look at that last game for Texas, you're like, all right, Trey Johnson's not going to go over again, but I don't know. I don't have that trust with Texas if, let's say, Vanderbilt's coming out, hitting shots early, forcing some turnovers. Texas isn't able to get easy buckets because they're not turning Vanderbilt over, those things. Like, I don't know. I feel like this one sets up well for Vanderbilt, minus just the motivation factor that Texas has.
EJ is wondering how much this thing being in Nashville is going to help the doors there, Blake.
I mean, it'll help, but like I don't think we should expect like the arena to be full with Vanderbilt fans like it will be with Kentucky fans and all that, right? I mean, I don't think it's going to be to that level. But there will be a lot of, there will be, I don't know. I mean, you'll have half of, one half of this side or something maybe that's going to be all Vanderbilt fans. Like, I don't know how many Texas fans will be there. But, yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt will have the advantage from a more fan standpoint. But keep in mind, too, they're playing in the session. Remember how this works. So it's sessions. My guess is the first session will be dominated by Vanderbilt and Arkansas fans. There will be a lot of Arkansas fans there, is my guess. So, who are they rooting for? They're probably rooting for Vanderbilt. I don't think they're rooting for Texas. So, yeah, we'll see.
Sam says Vandy could make a big run. Vanderbilt is the team I feel like that we pegged as they could throw a wrench into this because they've already beaten those teams, Texas A&M and Tennessee. We've already seen them beat all of them. So they could definitely do it again. Another thing, another support here for Vanderbilt would be, I just was thinking about it because last time one of our thoughts post game was, how good would Vanderbilt be if they just got one more foul allowed to Devin McLaughlin? If he was just allowed one more foul and was able to stay on the court a little bit longer, how many more games would Vanderbilt have won this year? Well, Texas just kind of being that versatile, capable, mid-range, tough shot making team. They rank 11th in SEC play out of 16 teams in free throw rate. So there's just an angle of weakness for Vanderbilt that Texas isn't really built to exploit.
All right, picks. I think we
in
the way here.
I don't love going first to both two favorites to start one of the craziest tournaments. That last year, if you picked a favorite, you were probably getting that game wrong. But I really love the defense of Tanner, Magnon, the older guards for Vanderbilt. I also think I trust Byington a little bit more. I'm gonna go Vanderbilt.
Yep, I'm picking Vanderbilt too. Haven't changed my mind on that one since we did our video a couple of days ago. I'm gonna go with them. I trust them to execute more in a late game situation, what I feel like is going to be a close game, but never discount the Trey Johnson effect. I will say that as always, you can't. So we'll see. All right, we're going to quickly, before we get to the last two games, because I think we'll probably go a little quicker with these last two. Quinn, $5 super chat. Going to try and see us today. Also has put in the 4-team parlay: Arkansas, Vandy, Mississippi State, Georgia. We'll see.
He called that a few days ago, didn't he?
Yeah, all in on the 14 parlay here.
Yep.
So, Nicholas, $5 super chat. Thanks for the analysis. Go Cats, and see you in Bridgestone. Nicholas will be there. Yes, come say hello.
There
Nicholas.
we go.
Appreciate it. Got another person driving down from Louisville this morning for the tournament. Loves the content here. Enjoy the tournament. Yep. Will be a lot of fun. And let's see, one more here. By the way, something else to think about too when it comes to the who's going to be in the arena and what sessions. Keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of Kentucky fans in every session. So that I can guarantee you. That's the one common that's always in the SEC tournament. Kentucky fans aren't just here to watch their team. They're here to watch the whole thing, baby. Until maybe you lose, and then you don't care as much. But for now, you will see a lot of Big Blue Nation on Wednesday today just because they're here to watch the sport. The game of basketball, the Cats. Angel asked, $5 super chat, how many teams have won an SEC title and a national title in the same season? Well, I mean, how many SEC teams have won the national title? That gets a little easier to narrow down. Like Florida, the back-to-back teams. Did they win the SEC tournament both? I don't know. I don't remember. Someone will remind me. Big Getter Ejo, remind me.
Have to go back and look.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look at this, but it's a good question. I'm sure Kentucky in some of those won the SEC tournament, no doubt. So Holly wants to know when the free throw contest is. It's still TBD. We're going to try to figure out a place to make that work this week, but Max and I were watching some games last night. We were watching the other mid-major games, and we were scouting out the free throw form. So, so we were getting ready. All right. Before we quickly get into LSU Mississippi State, I'll tell you about our friends at BracketBids. Sunday, Selection Sunday. Oh my! How about that? The next Sunday that it's gonna be Selection Sunday. What do you think about that? Man, music to my ears, music to the ears of Bracket Bids as well, because
Beautiful.
you guys are going over to Bracket Bids. We're going to talk about the whole process, what you got to do. You can enter into that free pick'em contest, start your auction draft league with your friends, family, or coworkers. We're going to have an auction draft league where we pick through all the teams, put in those bidding dollars. You all start with the same amount. Up to you to outwit and outbid your league mates to secure the teams you think go the distance. Choose from multiple scoring models, including the upset bonuses to reward the bold picks. Track your teams with live in-game scoring and watch the standing shift in real time. The further your teams advance, the higher you climb. That's how it works. For league play, use that promo code SC16 for 40% off. SC16, 40% off. Download the Bracket Bids app today or visit them at bracketbids.com. All right. Mother Carol, $2 super chat. Any chance of the meet and greet? Sure, if you come to the games, we will meet and greet you there. Yeah, like it's just our schedule outside of the games just gets a little wild this week because we are pretty much in the arena from, I don't know, from like 10 a.m. to midnight. So, yeah, it's sort of that's how it works. So, yeah, but again, if you guys are coming to the tournament, if you're there, hit us up on Twitter, whatever you want to do, and let us know, and we'll be there.
Sam is asking for a gut bracket, a liver bracket, and then a heart bracket.
That's a lot there, man. The trifecta. Trifecta. All right, let's get to these next two. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We may be pretty short on 10-15 here. Mississippi State LSU, because I just convince me, Max, why I should lean LSU in this game.
Because of a shooter's chance, Blake. A shooter's chance. This is going to be, if LSU's going to do this, LSU's going to have a guy have like a 6-3 game. Like a Cam Carter, Jordan Sears, one of those guards, whether it's Givens, Sears, Carter, whoever, they get consistent would be a better word, like consistent inside the lane kickouts. They get to the baseline, skip passes, and they kind of make that Chris Jan's defense collapse, and you get those classic skip wide open threes against the defense if you can make the pass. That's how LSU can do it. But it'll have to be like you're going to look up at halftime, Sears has 20 or Cam Carter has 20 and he's got 5 threes, something like that. Because the reason I say that, because the injuries. You don't have Corey Chest, your enforcer down low. You don't have Jalen Reed already. You don't have Victorious Miller, your best freshman so far. So, shooter's chance, Blake.
Well, the inconsistency of Mississippi State, too, I think is, I can answer my own question with that. They just, as I said, I sort of dubbed them, I don't know if the most confusing team is the best, but, there's just the spurred ability, Max. That's my, I like that word, the spurred ability. Like sometimes they just completely go off, or other times, a team can just make a huge run on them. And I think that's where, the only team they've beaten since February 18th is LSU. And so I think that is something, too, where they're kind of limping into this, losing 4 or 5. Their seeding is heading in the wrong direction, as we said. So, like, how does their seeding change? And we said it, like if the committee is shuffling things around today and tomorrow, maybe nothing matters after that in terms of the bracket. Yeah, if you're Mississippi State, you lose here. I think there's a decent shot you're in that 8-9 game. And for a team that, think about remember, Carlos, we're in here having these conversations about Mississippi State's got the profile of a 2 seed.
Yep.
Not that long ago, although I guess now it feels like forever ago. But now it's like, man, potentially falling into that 8-9 game. That's tough. So I think Mississippi State comes out here with something to prove. You would hope, probably if you're a Mississippi State fan, because you just have not seen that consistency, right? Because you look at the way their SEC season has gone. It's like, all right, win 1, lose 2, win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 2, it's kind of that same sort of setup. And of course, the schedule matters too. It's a tough year, but I think this is one where, if you want to have confidence in Mississippi State going into the NCAA tournament, I know this tournament doesn't really matter, but it should matter to this team who needs to just try to find their form a bit here.
I've seen some bracketologies. They're already back on the 8 line.
Yeah.
I've seen some because who just bumped them? The Zags. winning last night, bumped up to the
that's
7.
Right. Yeah, I think
So,
Lenardi may have put them. Yeah, back to the 8-9. Yeah.
If it's not Mississippi State, one of the 7 seeds just got bumped back to an 8. So that doesn't help Mississippi State trying to stay out of that 8-9. But yeah, I mean, I don't have to. I don't know. We know the matchup, right? I just think, confidence wise, like you said, moving forward, if you're going to trust this team, I remember back in like early SEC play when they had close game against Kentucky to start it. They go to Auburn and get not the best result there. But then you come back and you beat Ole Miss at home, and you had the huge road game at Memphis that you just blew the doors off Memphis when they were playing really good. They need to get that confidence back, and I feel like a few good games here could get that kind of Josh Hubbard swagger back, where he's kind of just going out playing loose. And hey, you're getting nothing against LSU. They've been playing good, but you're getting the 15 seed in the tournament playing without basically 3 starters. So I think it sets up well.
All right. Picks, I think we're both on the same page here.
Yeah, going Mississippi State with the caveat that Cam Carter could go off. And we have a few questions about McMahon, and he is locked in for another year at least.
Yeah, you think LSU lose? If LSU loses, that's Matt McMahon's job to get one more year. Yeah, I think he gets another year. I don't think he's going anywhere. So there was the report out there that they were going to increase their NIL and all this other stuff, which you've seen. That's been a common report for a lot of places, not just schools. The ACC, all these things out there about how the ACC is really about to ramp things up with NIL and all that. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, I'm picking Mississippi State too. All right, Georgia, Oklahoma, the 11-14. Here's a fun one, Max.
This one is fun. Who did you pick in the original?
I think I picked Georgia.
All right, I think we were split on this one. I think I picked Oklahoma.
I think that's right.
If I didn't,
if we change.
If I didn't, I'm tipping the hats here. I like my guy Porter Moser. I'm making a stand, Blake. I'm making a stand against the national media and everyone doubting Porter Moser and his ability to be the head coach of Sooners basketball. Max Barr is officially taking a stand and saying, you guys are fools for doubting a coach the caliber of Mr. Moser. The reason I like Oklahoma today has nothing to do with matchups, nothing to do with game planning. Sam Godwin is out, which is going to hurt Oklahoma's ability to offensive rebound. Already slight weakness against the height of Georgia. This is nothing more than teams playing for their life. That's kind of it's the worst analysis you're going to get from me all year, but I just think this team is winning in and lose and go home, and I think there's a lot of weight to that.
Yeah, I mean, we said the motivation has won out for some of these teams, and I think this is kind of one where, I've been the guy that's like, I just don't know if I trust Georgia. I don't know if I trust them, but now they've won 4 in a row, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'm back in now. But I also know that, again, they're probably in pretty good shape from an NCAA tournament standpoint. And yeah, I mean, Hudson says it here. Oklahoma needs it more, but man, Georgia has been playing their best basketball of the season, and
yeah,
it's like which one wins out here. That's why, look, I don't disagree that it could be the best game of the day. Just from that standpoint, I mean, Georgia. Can they get to the free throw line? I mean, we always say, like, that's where you get these kind of games in neutral court environments. How they're officiated, being able to get to the line is going to be important for them because we just know the percentage-wise, they're not going to be a team that gets a lot done from 3, necessarily. And someone else brought up earlier, like, we see this every year. Like, sure, initially you're going to have some of those teams, like the depth perception and all that. It may throw some shots off. I think I don't know if it's going to be a huge part of it, but some teams, like some players, that's just natural. It's going to happen. So, yeah, this is a difficult one because I don't have a great feel because that last game was played so long ago. I mean, 2 months ago now, right, in Athens, and I know a lot was made of the free throw. Georgia shot 28 more free throws or whatever, but that's just kind of what they do. And so I don't know. I don't have a great feel for this one. I think this is probably, to me, and I guess you could say for Vanderbilt, Texas too, but maybe I have a little more confidence in Vanderbilt. But this is the most unpredictable game of the day, I think.
Yeah, and it's and even doubling down on why you shouldn't do what I'm doing. Without Sam Godwin and the way that Georgia gets to the free throw line, I like the minutes Mo Wagi gets. He's impactful when he's out there, but it doesn't last too long with his foul rate. And with the way Georgia drives and draws contact, I don't think you're going to get north of 20 minutes from Mo Wagi. So that means you're going to get a lot of Luke Northweather at the 5, who provides a different look, bit of a stretch 5, less than or not much, of a back to the basket down low guy. So maybe that is one of those things where Luke Northweather hits like 2 threes and the commentator going, what is going on? Northweather comes in, but no, that, I'm illustrating that. I think that supports the Georgia side where Newell, Cyril, Godfrey, these guys should have not only the physical advantage, but just the skill advantage. You're going to, without Godwin and with the way Mo Wagi has the high foul rate, you're probably going to get extended periods of time against the 3rd and 4th line of Oklahoma's front court.
All right, so you're going to stick with Oklahoma?
I'm going to. I think Georgia's been the better basketball team. If I'm picking a March Madness bracket, I'm trusting Georgia more. Something about March, and I picked all 3 favorites so far. Give me a little craziness in the late night slate. I'll go Sooners, but I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I guess I'll stick with my initial pick of Georgia. It is like something's got to give here, and I'm like, things are almost set up too well for the SEC to just get another team in. And I'm like, all right, something's got to happen, right? Like Georgia's got to beat them, and Oklahoma gets left out or something. I don't know, but I think it's just sort of. I think that's the way that it's going to play out. I just think Georgia's playing too well. So, but again, upsets are going to happen. It's round 1. We see it every year. So, I mean, look, 10-cent pistol. Here's the deal. Yes, I went chalk, just like you said 30 minutes ago, and it only took 5 seconds. We got time to fill here, okay? We got sponsors. We got ad reads. We got to fill longer than 5 seconds, or we don't have a show. No. But, I mean, it's hard because, like we said, this year, we tried. Like, we could make an argument for all the underdogs, which, like, again, Max, I know you're just joking, but we were just having fun with it. But like, yeah, I mean, it's been that kind of year. Like, again, we've seen South Carolina beat the 9 seed that they're going to play today, like unmercifully, like in Columbia. And so it's like you just keep going down the line for all these matchups, and yeah, I mean, anything can unfold when you get these teams getting together in the SEC tournament. So,
is today going to be the last time we watch Conroy Boyles?
Oh,
that just
Max Barr.
That just sat me down.
Don't say that. Oh my. Don't say that. Oh.
Do I got to go back and change my pick now?
Brutal. Yeah, we'll see. I that's the thing. Like, if you're willing to bet, is chalk going to hold today? Like, I'm not betting yes on that. I would bet the no, whatever the number is. So, I just think it's going to be that kind of tournament, we feel like. So, yep. But we'll see how it plays out. All right, so there are picks for day 1 of the SEC tournament. As we said, we'd love to tell you what our schedule is going to be for the day, but it's hard to know because we always talk about it every year. Like the arena Wi-Fi connection is not always the best, and we try everything we can to make it work. It's just a lot of times it doesn't really work that great. Like we did like a 2-minute Twitter video last year, Max. It was literally like 2 or 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. That thing probably took 30 minutes to upload, just as a 2 or 3 minute Twitter video. So you can imagine actually live streaming what could go with that. So we'll do our best. I don't think it's going to happen in terms of the live stream today, another one, but we will do our best. There's another idea we could consider, Max. I know you guys are watching on YouTube, but if you want to follow our audio podcasts, we could consider doing that as a possibility and just putting it on the audio. So here's what we're going to do. So if you guys listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever, stop what you're doing right now, watching us, that is. Go find the podcast and go ahead and subscribe on the audio feed. I will put the link.
Yes.
I'll put the Apple Podcast link in there. Of course, it's on Spotify. Anything you use, Overcast, any of those kind of, third-party players. Go sign up in case we decide to do that. If the video doesn't work, if the internet sucks and we're just like, all right, we can't do video, we may try to do audio and put it on there. Just kind of some thoughts on that. And again, we're definitely not doing it late tonight because the last game probably won't end until whatever time, and it's just probably not going to happen. So TBD on our schedule for today. But
follow us on Twitter and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. And I know Robert, Spotify still calls it Southeastern 14. There's nothing we can really do about that. That's through our podcast partners, so you'll find us somewhere. But yeah, so we will do the best we can with the internet today. Follow us on Twitter. That way we will try to at least upload maybe some quick reaction videos on Twitter, but all internets, it's all based on the internet there. So
yeah,
we'll do what we can. So Big Gator EJ is going to donate a hotspot for us. I feel like we tried that last year and it still didn't work well.
You put one on. And
we did that and it still didn't work.
Because I remember I tried to upload the video off my phone, didn't work. Then we would try to email it to ourselves to send it off the computer to try to upload it. Brutal.
We're gonna see. We're gonna call Garth and we're gonna say, look, Garth, we need access to the direct plug-in, the Ethernet. We need the internet hub for the entire Bridgestone Arena. We need to go wherever that is and get set up there. That may be our only shot. So, yeah, we'll do the best we can for you guys. But again, follow on the audio feeds. That way, if we decide to do something, we may just throw up some quick reaction on the audio.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else? A couple minutes, guys. We'll hop out. Max and I are going to head to the arena as soon as we're done here. So, we'll see who else camping out there. Gotta be people camping out right now, right? So
I'm gonna start mopping down the courts. Just make sure there's no, perspiration or anything for warm-ups.
Perspiration. Follow us on Twitter. Max and I are gonna, who knows? Maybe if the teams aren't out there warming up yet, we may go do the free throw contest. Live straight from the arena. I don't know if Garth can get us that kind of access, but maybe Max. Maybe that's what's gonna happen tomorrow morning. We may say, hey, I know some teams got to practice, but you know what? There's something more important going on here. Yeah. Free throw contest. The people want it. So this is the best from Big Gator EJ. Bridgestone makes tires, not Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right.
And then Tamar Bates comes out of the tunnel and says, I'm the best free throw shooter. I heard you guys are the best free throw shooters. Let's do a competition. And then we beat Tamar Bates.
How about that? That could make headlines.
Yeah.
There's no question. All right, guys. Again, if you're coming to the arena, let us know. Follow us on Twitter. You see our Twitter handles right there under our names. Should be a fun time. And we will keep you updated. Subscribe to that audio. That way, if we can't do video, we will throw it on the audio. And we'll give you our thoughts on some stuff throughout the day, probably there. So, all right. The SE16 chat court storming. Yes. If anyone storms the court today at the arena, we're going to assume it's one of you guys. You got to pay $100,000 or more probably. That happens. So, and Dennis Gates going to pick me up for the tournament.
Yes.
Add me to the roster. Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate you. SEC tournament week. It's here. And, be sure to subscribe to everything. Turn on those notifications so you know when we do go live, if we can go live. If not, we will be going live every morning, just like we do already. Just all the other stuff, it'll depend throughout the day. So, all right, guys, appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you soon here, Southeastern 16.